Alright, so thanks for coming to another video. This is switching back up onto car side of things. So we're going to talk through what I do for a track day. So being that I've got a track day in 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing a lot of the things that I'll be talking through, and makes it keep it fresh in my mind and hopefully don't miss anything. So I'm in HPDE, and I'm still in level 1 through that, and I do my track days through NASA Mid-Atlantic, being that VIR is my home course. So when you register for HPDE, at level 1, your instructor is going to be completing your tech inspection form. However, you do still need to go through your car. You are the driver. You are responsible with what you bring to the track and what you put out on the track. So I'm going to go through just kind of my own list, which goes along with and potentially supplements the list that that your track day organization will go through. So starting with the fairly basic stuff, make sure your car is in good mechanical order. Any fluids that you have, if you haven't changed them in a while, you don't know what their history is, just go ahead and put fresh fluids in anything that can take fluid. So oil change, new filter, pretty straightforward. Transmission fluid and differential fluid, whether you have a rear diff or front diff or all-wheel drive and you have transfer case, make sure that those fluids are in good health. So if you haven't ever changed it, absolutely change it before you go. If you changed it 6 months ago and you haven't done any aggressive driving or anything else of that nature, you're probably going to be fine. But then again, these are the things that I do. Personally, I have not driven my car as much as I would like, so the transmission and diff fluid that I put in last year is honestly still good. I've done 2 track days on it, and that's it. Brake fluid. If you're going to go to the track, I would highly suggest you switch over from an OEM brake fluid into a high performance or a higher temperature brake fluid. Personally, I'm using Motul RBF 600. I've not gone to 660 or any of the other extremely high temp brake fluids, but make sure that you are having brake fluid that is rated for on-track temperatures. I did not do this my first time out. I thought I wasn't going to be going fast enough to generate that much heat, yada yada yada. Second session, after I felt comfortable coming down the front straight at speed, I stayed in it, and then I had a significant brake fade. Not total failure, but significant fade to a point where I went off the run out for turn 1 at VIR. That being said, compounding that issue, I still had OEM brake pads, which again, I wasn't going to go fast enough. I didn't think I was going to go fast enough while I'm still learning the track and so forth. If you can realistically tell yourself that you're not going to, and you're just going to be coasting into all the corners, yada yada, cool, maybe OEM pads and OEM fluid's fine. But we're going to the track to get better, to get faster, and as the weekend progresses, our comfort level is going to go up, and we are going to go faster. So go ahead and put some higher temp brake pads in the car and some higher temp brake fluid. Last thing on the brake pads, make sure that your brake pads aren't going to overpower your tires. So for me, I have a 07 C6 Z51 package. I can run a more aggressive brake pad. However, with the Falcon RTE 500s or 510s or whatever that they are, a more aggressive brake pad will overcome what my tires are capable of holding. I don't know what the full list of that is. K&S Brakes, they're local to me in my part of North Carolina, and pretty much everyone I talked to at the track said, oh, for Corvette and brakes, call Ken at K&S Brakes. He'll take care of you and advise you what you need to do. Perfect. Did that. And my last track day last year worked perfectly. So now we've covered brakes, and we've covered our fluids. What else would you need to do? So I personally nut and bolt the entire car. So if that is my tires, my brake calipers, my suspension components, all my exhaust bolts, anything that can come loose, go ahead and check it. Another example of me not doing that, the exhaust bolt from my I guess header exhaust manifold to my X pipe, that came loose and it rattled itself off and free on the front straight at VIR, and heard something fall, didn't know what it was, but again, I probably didn't have stuff tightened enough, and heat cycles, multiple heat cycles, it just worked itself loose. So go ahead and check all of your mechanical fasteners on the vehicle, suspension, control arms, tires, wheels, anything that can come loose, just go ahead and check it. It's a good sanity check. And keeping going on the car side of things, I personally like to go ahead and clean my windshield, mirrors, and rear windshield, as well as my, I don't focus too much on the windows because being that I'm still an instructed student, I have to keep both windows down. I have to keep a window down at wherever there's a person. So driver's side window's down for me, and then passenger side is down for my instructor. So I don't need to spend a whole bunch of time on windows, but absolutely keeping your windshield clean is much easier to see through. You don't have streaks, you don't have sun blinding you, and so forth. All right, so getting into the last couple items that I generally check for, at least on the car, making sure that my tires still have enough tread, and brake pads. Should have already done that while you're getting to the brake pads to give yourself a fresh brake bleed, and so forth. Make sure you don't take anything to the track that you don't need. So the pile of receipts that you have, or random things that are just rattling around in the vehicle, go ahead and remove those. They're not necessary. Alright, so the last two items I have for getting the car prepped for HPDE, and again, this is not an exhaustive list, but go ahead and remove your beauty rings for your rims or your wheels at home. You're going to have to take those off anyways, and again, having to take stuff off while you're at the track, more things that you can potentially misplace or forget, and then have to get pulled out off the track for. Last item is your battery tie down, as well as connections. Make sure your battery is secure. That is something that is going to be checked. Your terminals are connected properly, as well as the battery is secure. We're going to be turning hard, we're going to be accelerating hard, we're going to be braking hard. Make sure the battery stays in its place. Pretty straightforward. All right, so transitioning from what to do to the car versus what to bring with you to the track. And again, your vehicle, your choices, your everything else is going to help play a role into this, but I don't have a garage space when I go to the track. So top of my list is bring a chair and protect yourself from the elements. Whether that's bringing yourself a pop tent to be able to sit underneath, keep you out of the rain, keep you out of the sun, hat, sunscreen. Again, I have no hair, so I have to wear a hat or my head will get sunburned. But those are always things that I'll bring. Water and snacks. It's really easy to get dehydrated. You're focused all on the car, you're focused on the turns, your improvement of where you need to go and what you need to do. You can forget to drink. I personally try to drink a bottle of water every time I come off track. I'll go ahead and walk up to the bathroom. As I'm walking to the bathroom, I'll drink another bottle of water. Make sure I'm trying to stay hydrated the best I can. When you get dehydrated, you aren't as quick and as lucid mentally. And again, we're trying to stay prepared, we're trying to stay fast on the track. Snacks goes along with that. If you want to eat food at the track, your track may have concessions, it may not. Fortunately, VIR does. So if I forget or just choose not to pack that, I can go ahead and get from the concessions. Sorry, shifting gears. And tools, spare parts, things that could need to be replaced. I don't take a full set of tools because realistically, I'm driving the car up there, I'm driving the car back. I take what I'm able to fit. I take a handful of sockets that I know I might potentially need with the predetermined sizes. While I'm already under the car checking things out, I'm gonna make sure I bring those sizes as well. Goes for wrenches as well, not just sockets. Needing to have ability to get the car in the air. So if you do develop an air bubble in your brakes, I'm gonna go ahead and be able to bleed that back out. So I bring a floor jack and jack stands. Realistically, especially an HPDE1, that's really not that necessary if you're having to drive your car up and back. And again, Corvettes don't have that much space. But I don't like having to depend on someone else if I need to do something. But everyone on the track has been super friendly, super helpful. Had an instructor offer to put my car up in the air and help me with brakes my first time out. So you can get away with using someone else's tools and equipment, but again, that's your comfort level. I personally don't like to be reliant on others if I can. So after that, I'll make sure that the spares that I will bring a spare set of brake pads. Again, I'll bring the stock brake pads just to get me home if something happens. But if one of my brake pads comes apart or whatever else, unlikely, but at least I have a safe way to get myself home. I will bring extra brake fluid. I will bring extra engine oil. I don't bring transmission or rear diff fluid with me, but I generally do try to take the core pieces of equipment and the core pieces of replacements or spare parts stuff. If you're going up with a trailer, definitely can bring a more full toolbox, but again, I drive up and I drive back. All right, so the last couple things that I'd make sure I bring. I always bring the jacking pucks. And again, your car may not require them, but for the Corvettes, it is recommended to bring or to have jacking pucks. They slot into a position on the frame rail and be able to jack the car up. You can also jack from the front or rear cradle in the center. Probably bring a piece of wood to help distribute that load before you get it onto the jack stands. Getting into some of the miscellaneous things, I always bring cash. I always bring more cash than I think I might need, just in case something goes wrong and I end up trying to buy something from someone else to help me get through the weekend. I do bring a GoPro and my phone. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the GoPro on the car this time. Might try to put it on the outside for just a different view. But phone-wise, I personally use Track Addict just to help keep track of lap times. I don't have it up while I'm driving, just because I need to focus on the track. I don't need to focus on what my lap time is here versus there. But afterward, when I am done, I have a debrief with my instructor and with myself. It allows me to see where I improved, where I slid further out, what my speeds were, and so forth. It just gives me a benchmark to help base my improvements on. All right, so last couple things. Again, each of your tracks may change, but I bring a portable air pump and a quality tire gauge. VIR does have trackside air to open for anyone that needs it, but again, I try not to rely on others. If that compressor goes down, I won't be able to fill my tires back up on the way home. And then VIR does require long sleeves and long pants for most track day sessions. Sometimes in the summer they'll waive the long sleeve requirement, but again, in HPDE, long sleeves, long pants. If you're staying at a hotel, bring just your regular hotel stuff that you're needed. Goodness gracious, that sun is bright. But yeah, bring stuff for the overnight. Your toiletries, any of the stuff that you are going to need overnight. If you tent camp while at track, make sure you bring anything that's associated for that. additional 550 cord to help be able to tie the tent down. It can get windy, and when it gets windy like that, things tend to blow away. Prevent your stuff from blowing away, having to go chase it, but also prevent it from blowing into someone else's car, someone else's area, and disturbing them or potentially damaging their car. Yeah, so those are the main things that I go through for my track day prep. Hopefully this is helpful. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But again, this is stuff that I try to go through and make sure that I'm thinking about. So as I'm leading up to the track day date, I can already start chipping away at some of these things and know that since the last time I took the car out, X, Y, and Z was already done. And before I go up again, I will nut and bolt everything. That way I know I've got a fresh peace of mind, knowing that I'm going out and able to set myself up for success the best way that I have possible. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully the sun coming through the window and windshield wasn't too terrible on the visuals. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions or any suggestions of something that I should work on adding or changing.